Hey guys, Jeremy, My Way MFG. I got the old Chevy 1-ton pulled in the garage today and started taking it apart, and we're going to get these floors fixed up the best we can. Getting it through the door, that's an 8-foot wide box and it's got some angle iron on the back. So it's about 8'3". That's a 9-foot door, but with the jams, it's like 8'7". So it was pretty tight getting it in here. But to make matters worse, I had to remove the mirrors because it wouldn't go through with the mirrors. So I couldn't really see what I was doing at all. So Colton came and he stood there and he done this and I got it pulled in. Not something you'd want to do if you'd been drinking, I don't think. But anyway, I started cutting some of the old stuff out. I took the door off in the seat, make it easier to work, and I've also the lower seatbelt mount I've taken off. But just on this one side, we'll get this side done and then we'll move on to the other side. But let me show you what all's going on here. There's a few sections of floor pans that I've cut out so far. If you remember in that last video, it was pretty rusty under there. I got all new supports for this as well. So anyway, I've cut out around the perimeter here, and I've got this one started to drop in there. I got to cut it out more in the front. Where this relief cut is right here, this should come up to here by the time I'm all in, which means that these are too short. They're going to end like right here, and well, I'm no good right here. But I was going to have to make something to roll up this edge a little bit anyway to replace the front part of this where it's bad. So I think what will end up happening is there'll just be an extension on this with a 90 bent in, or almost a 90 bent into it with the sheet metal brake, and there'll be like a seam here, a bend, and then up. We'll kind of take it up until we're level with this flat line right here, and then when we get to here, we'll stop. Over here, we'll take a brake and we'll bend a lip down here, get a relief in there for our door seal, and then we'll also bring it up clear as high as we can, and then that'll just leave us this corner. We can put a pie cut, like a triangular piece, right there. And the top of this, I think, is all pretty good. So in order to get this to slide up any further, I've got to get a light here. I've got to cut it out more in that corner so that this will drop on down the rest of the way. After I get that drop down, then I can kind of trace this thing and figure out where I want to cut the floor. And we'll probably just leave it lapped over some old stuff, about an inch maybe. The rocker panels look real good still. I got to get the rest of this old stuff off of here. I'll just take a grinder wheel and get that off. Cab corners still look good enough, But anyway, let me take this back out of here once so you can kind of see. I do wish those floor pans had been 6 inches longer, or even longer than that. I could have trimmed them off, but anyway, this is what we got going on underneath. This was all really rotten along the rocker panels, so it didn't take me much to get that out. I needed it out so that that inner skirt would drop through, But I gotta continue to take out a little bit more right up in that corner so I can get it to slide up the rest of the way. These braces underneath are getting replaced also. I got new ones both for here and here. So I'm gonna have to get all the plug welds ground out on them and get them to drop. I've also got new bolts and rubber bushings to go here. But I can't take all that out until I support the corner of this cab some way. And what I think I'm gonna do is put an eye bolt up there, get a ratchet strap around the cab here, get it ratcheted up tight. And if I move this cab right now, let me rock it, maybe you can see. Anyway, everything's solid right now, believe it or not. It's all moving as one unit. It's not really wobbly. So I think if I just put some tension on this strap, and then, I don't know about that bolt. I doubt if it comes out, it might, but get the bolt out or grind the bolt out, cut the bolt out, whatever I got to do. And then while it's supported by the ratchet strap, I'll get that brace out of there. This floorboard ties in. If I use the whole thing, and I think I need to, it ties in way up there. And I've got rust clear up there around where the dimmer switch was, so I think I probably ought to use the whole floor pan. You know, it'll be going clear up to here where the original seam was, but that gets it all replaced and good metal again. Just too short back here is the problem. But in order to do that, that's going to be a hard place to get up into and weld. And I'm thinking probably what I should probably do is take the hood off and take the front fender off and take the inner fender out. Because this inner fender, if you look down here, it's got a big hole in it anyway. It's not very good, and I can buy a set of 2 of these inner fenders on eBay for $127. And this wasn't something I was planning on doing, but while I'm doing it, why not? It's going to be easier to get. That floor pan will be right in front of me with the fender off. And it'll make that way easier to get that brace in as well. Then when I go back together, put a new inner fender in, right? And that would be, that fender's still good. Inner fender well would be new. The floor pan would be new, clear up to the factory seam. As long as I can get all this patched in good back here, pretty much back to a new condition other than, you know, good enough, right? So anyway, I think that's going to do it for me out in the garage today, but I'm probably going to come back out here tomorrow and do a little bit more. I'm going to start by cutting that out further up there until I can get my floor pan slid clear up, get it pushed down into place and trace it, and then see if I can cut out the remainder of this floor pan. And then before I take any braces out, we're going to have to get our strap and our eye bolt on. And then we'll see what it's going to take to get all those stitch welds and plug welds ground out and drilled out until we can release all of that stuff. That's where I'm at with it today. Feels good to be started on it. You know, if that rocker panel and cab corner, I put them on there 15 years ago. If I hadn't have done that, there wouldn't have been much left of this cab. That new cab corner and rocker panel, or newer cab corner and rocker panel, is really the only thing left on the whole side of the cab. So probably a good thing I did that when I did it. They'd have been hard to do later if things would have started moving, you know. Anyway, we're not going to try to make it perfect, but when you run into a problem that's as bad as this was, it would be almost impossible to make it worse, you know. As long as you can get everything in there pretty straight, and as long as your welds are good enough that everything is tight and solid, no matter what else, you're going to be in way better shape than you were before. So, yeah, anybody that's got a cab like this, just go ahead and do it. What are you going to do, make it worse? And the parts are pretty cheap, really. I'm probably only going to have $500 in this floor, maybe 600 by the time I buy a few more material, you know, little things, grinder wheels, cutoff wheels and stuff. And then I do think I'll just go ahead and get the 2 new inner fenders just because it's going to make it easier for me to get in there and work. And I'd hate to put the old ones back in as cheap as they are, you know. So anyway, guys, I'll be back out here tomorrow. The breaker bar on on that bolt for this cab mount. It actually felt like it was turning out. I'm just not sure. I'm gonna put an impact on there and just see what happens here. Wow. I wouldn't have believed it if I hadn't seen it with my own eyes. I figured the captive nut in there would have broke loose, or, you know, the threaded piece, but come out. That's great. I think now I got a ratchet strap up here on a lag hook. I'm gonna put a little more tension on that and see if I can get that to lift up just a little. With that ratchet strap on there, I'm just going to start cutting out a little bit more. I've been taking a grinder and finding all my spot welds and drilling them out. I've drilled out one here and here, 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 3 up there. I feel like I got them all. I don't know. There might be 1 or 2 I'm missing. I'm having a hard time getting this to release. Kind of thinking there's one right there actually, but I'm gonna keep working on this for a while. You drill them out, they kind of hang up on you a little bit. It'd be nice if I could cut this in half and then I could wiggle it out of there, but I don't know how much weight's on this. I need to figure out if there's any weight on that or not. I went ahead and I cut this off. It wasn't doing anything anymore. What they've done here is, you'll see this piece welded on here. They've completely boxed this in around that bolt, and then they've got like a, I don't know, probably a plate, threaded plate or something down there to make it like a captive nut. And with this boxed off here, which would be like putting a plate right here, and then this backs up to here, and then the plate on top, it makes a box around that. And these don't come with that, so I'm gonna have to cut plates and remake that. But I'm gonna try to get this rubber bushing out of here to where I can see if I have any weight on this. If I don't, I might just take a Sawzall, cut that in half, take it out in 2 pieces. But for right now, I'm kind of thinking I got a spot weld here. I'm gonna grind that out real quick. Maybe I can get it to release. That rubber body mount, I'm able to reach in here and move that around. It's stuck, but I don't think there's really any weight on it. So I'm gonna go ahead and cut this in half, I think. Just make it easier to get out of there. When I cut it, nothing moved. So I was able to reach in and spin this cab mount bushing. So I assumed there was no weight on it much. But now that I got that cut in half, I can take out the back and the front. It's hard to take it out in one piece when you're dealing with trying to drill out the spot welds. And I just seen one more spot weld. Every time I think I got them all, I find another one. My bit off. Yeah, about that. God. All right, that's pretty cool. Now we gotta get the other side off. I was just now able to get this rubber peeled out of there. It had a sleeve on it that was countersunk down the hole, but we got no weight on this now. So I just got to get it to release up here and take out this other half, and then we're ready to start prepping stuff to put new stuff back in. That's all out of there. Getting the other half out wasn't too bad at all. I had what I have here? Spot welds there, and there, and then there's a bolt up underneath there that holds this to it. So I had to take out 1/3/8 bolt, a few spot welds, got that out of there. So all that's out. I gotta keep trimming the floors. Over on this side, I'm into pretty good metal. Most of that I think I'm gonna leave. Up in here, I got some rust up around where the dimmer switch went, and that's probably okay there. That's just a little surface rust. Basically, I think maybe I'm gonna splice the floor pan in right along here, and then maybe just make a patch right here. It's gonna get hard to weld if I keep cutting it higher, I think. Back here, we'll weld all these holes back shut when we put our new brace in with plug welds. I got rust right here that's gonna have to come out. That's pretty bad. So I'm thinking I can save it about to there. And then I just gotta make a new corner and a new side down through here. Everything else is probably good enough to leave. So, yeah, we're getting there. Here's the old one I took out. I vice gripped it together, but that's where I cut it with the Sawzall. This box they've made here for this captive nut, and if you can see that captive nut, it's a big square threaded plate, probably 3/4 of an inch thick. But all of this stuff is in pretty good shape. I'm going to see if I can break it loose out of there, clean it up, and just weld it back into the new one. Right here, this nut is where the inner fender well bolted on. So I've got to get a nut welded back into this hole. So I got a place to bolt that. A few plug welds up here, that's fine. Back here, there was a nut welded under here that the seat bolted to, but I'm not using the original seat, so I don't even think I need it. And hey, look at that, would you? It's on there already. I don't know why they put that one on, but not that one. But anyway, it's a matter of just cleaning stuff up now and doing some prep work. And we should be able to get all this stuff started back together in the next video, I'm thinking. There's the old rubber cab mount and the bolt. Ordered this box. It's got all the new stuff in it. That should get us where we need to go with that. Let's get this stuff all cut loose from here and see if it's something we can reuse or not. Got that out. That's all just stitched in there with some welds. I just started cutting until I could get to it, but that's all in real nice shape. I'm just going to clean that up and reuse it. And after you see how that's made, it'd be almost impossible for that to ever spin, even with that being as rusty as it was. But that'll just get welded back up in there. Anyway, see what we can do here. Again, I'm going to start prepping stuff to get this big long brace back in. So I'm going to get under there and start cleaning up a little bit and see what it looks like from underneath. Yeah, that's a little pitted up in there on the bottom side, but there's still a lot of metal left there. I think that'll be all just fine. We'll get us all welded back up and then get it coated with POR 15. And that ought to save it, you know, keep it together for a long time. I think we're gonna test fit that in there once and just see what it looks like. And then we'll get some weld-through primer sprayed around where these plug welds are gonna be. Alright, I got those new braces slid up in there and just kind of setting in place. I can pretty well find the position up here from where my holes are drilled for the old plug welds. And then I got this hole lined up right here through the bottom of the body mount. So I know that's all where that's got to go. And then if you look through this hole, there's the, yeah, that moved on me a little bit, but that captive nut for the seat bolt, I gotta move this over a little bit, and it lines up with that hole. You can maybe see the edge of it right there. Anyway, I'm gonna wait to put this on. This right here is pretty well got to go where it's at. So I think I'm gonna clean up this other front side, spray some weld-through primer on all this, and probably go ahead and start getting this one welded in. I might not fully weld it for now. I might just do a couple plug welds on each side in case something ain't right, but I think it pretty well is going to have to go where it's got to go. This piece here, that's also pretty well where it's got to go, but that floor pan has got to drop down over this, the edge of it, and right now it's looking like that could be hard to do. Maybe this will flex over enough to allow that to drop in. If not, I might have to take the fender off and maybe grind this weld off right here on the rocker panel. I put this rocker panel on when I first bought the truck. I done it in an afternoon with a flux core welder out in my driveway. It was never a great job. It was good enough, but I didn't take the fender off, so it's likely not welded back there. So probably the only thing holding this is this chicken shit weld right here and here. And then if I had that out, well, then I could drop my floor pan over, because this stuff should go on first and then the rocker panel go on. But I'm in a situation where I've already got the rocker on. I didn't want to take it back off, but I might just have to bust it loose in the front. I've started cleaning this edge up. So that's where I'm at with it. I think right now probably get this cleaned up the rest of the way and just get this somewhat welded in place, because it's pretty well where it's got to go, I'm thinking. I was unsure how I was going to support that, because I got the whole front of the floor cut out in that corner. There's nothing under there I can put a jack under. So I came up with that eye bolt idea, that lag bolt with the ratchet strap. You get to thinking, how much can a lag bolt like that actually hold, you know? I didn't know if that would be strong enough to hold up the corner of that cab or not. And I got to thinking about porch swings. You ever been to a cookout somewhere and guy's got a porch swing, and then next thing you know, you get a couple of them big old girls, like 2 of them. They come and they sit down on that porch swing and they really get to going. You're sitting there eating your hamburger and you're wondering, how much wood does a lag bolt actually grab? Apparently quite a bit, I'm thinking. But there's a lot of tension on that strap, but it seems fine. We get the floors done in this cab. It goes a long way in getting this truck back to good. And then there's a few other things I want to get done this winter. I explained it in that first video where we were talking about it. I want to get the gauges working and carburetor fixed. Might put some exhaust on it if everything else goes good. But anyway, this is my second day out here. I pulled this in yesterday, so I feel pretty good about it. That's 2 days worth of work, and we're ready to clean up and start prepping to go back together. So I'm thinking in the next video we might have a couple braces welded in there maybe. Anyway, guys, thanks for watching. Please like, comment, share, all them things. We'll catch you on the next one. Later, Jeremy.